everybody. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is So I'm Watching Barry, Season 4, Episode 7, A Nice Meal.
Like we said out there.
Yeah.
This is a penultimate episode.
This is what we're looking for.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I do love the, series finales where everything is wrapped up in a pretty little bow, but you can still kind of imagine that their lives continue.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think this is going to be is that I think it's going to be pretty open-ended.
You think so?
I think next week it's going to be pretty open-ended.
I think I could see for maybe one or two characters it's all or nothing,
sure.
But I kind of agree. I think this is very much kind of like a type of ending.
Yeah. So, okay, where should we start?
Jim Moss is doing the mind mumblies to Barry.
Brain scramblies.
Yeah. He's back at the beach. Well, so it started out with the whatever.
Desert.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's where their house is.
Yeah. And then the beach where he was kind of in limbo before. And then it was John in front of a red curtain. And then Kusino at a dinner. And then that's pretty much
just
kind of
making him see lots of stuff, which is how we imagine he brain scrambled the Vanity Fair writer. So Barry ends up saying something about the money that he gave to Jean, the $250,000. And so that's when Jim went back and found the Vanity Fair writer's notebook and was like, let me figure this out. And so I guess we started out with Jean, and what is Fred Melamed's character's name? I forget every
Tom?
week. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Tom. So the two of them Jean has written an op-ed on the internet somewhere about how disgusting the movie is and how they shouldn't do it, and it's exploiting Janice's death and everything. And all of the reception is positive, which is interesting. So then he gets a phone call from, and his name is Matt Iserson. It's Nate Cordry, who I think is super funny. He's in an episode of New Girl.
He's everywhere.
He's in so much stuff.
He was on Maisel.
He was on Maisel. That's right. And so he basically is like, Daniel Day-Lewis wants to play you in the movie. He wants to come out of retirement to play you in the movie. First of all, boy, is that generous.
Yeah.
I love Henry Winkler. Daniel Day-Lewis is on another level.
Yeah.
And then basically he meets him in the park and he's like, sure, I'll do it. And there's all this talk about Mark Wahlberg and he has to meet Mark Wahlberg in order to secure it because he thinks that Barry is a villain. And Jean still is saying all this stuff about how Barry is kind of misunderstood and he's just looking for a father figure. And I'm like, I love actually how indecisive he is about Barry because he obviously is angry at him for killing Janice, but I think he also is very fond of him.
I think that it's a little bit more wrapped up into when you have to get inside that type of character, you have to find when you play someone who is so awful, you kind of have to find those pain points where they're just misunderstood, or there's a reason why that they're so terrible.
Yeah, but
I feel like he's doing that.
He also, though, keeps doing it even outside of the confines of talking about this movie role. I think he's a little conflicted about Barry, as a person, which I find fascinating.
Yeah.
And I do wish we were gonna have more time to keep exploring that. So anyway, he agrees to meet Mark Wahlberg at the Four Seasons, and he walks in, and it's the chief of police, and it's Jim Moss, and it's the DA, and his son, and then this guy Matt Iserson, who actually is an actor and took a Shakespeare course from Jean 20 years ago. That was all literally incredible. And so now, basically what we think has happened is that Jim has decided that Jean was in on ordering the hit on Janice. As opposed to Barry just did that because she was onto him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate it. But I mean, it's fascinating.
I kind of love it.
Yeah. But I hate it because it's not true. And it's just it's something that's so awful that happened to Jean. But also, he's not helping it either.
Okay, it is something super awful that happened to Jean, but if he hadn't been milking it for attention,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This would not be an issue.
No, it would not. Yeah. And then the fact that they keep insisting that he shot Leo on purpose.
I don't like that.
That's twice now.
He was terrified.
Yeah.
Because he thought it was Barry coming to get him. So I don't love that part, but I do kind of love that Gene is being taken out by his
own hubris?
His own pride and hubris.
Are we watching a Greek tragedy? Is this Oedipus? Is this like, my eyes?
No. I love it though. I think it's so fascinating, and the fact that Gene doesn't really have a leg to stand on because he spewed out all of that over dramatic, like melodramatic, hyperbolic nonsense to the Vanity Fair writer, and now that's all in writing.
Yep.
And so I just do kind of love it from like a tragic. I don't think Gene like fully deserves this as punishment. Right. If he were a real man, no, but like within the world of this television show, it's hilarious. Other than that, Sally is also in Los Angeles. She calls Gene and is like, "Can you pick me and my son up from the airport?" And she's also shocked he's alive. Yeah. And he's shocked she's alive as well. And so they're both happy each other's alive. But then because he is going to take this meeting, he's like, "I can't, but you can meet me at my house." So she goes to his house. He's not there. It's all locked up. And she doesn't really know what to do. And John is like, I don't know.
He is the embodiment of a question mark.
He is. He's like, what? I do love that. But she sees a cop down the street and she goes to talk to the cop. But then I guess she's envisioning the guy that she stabbed.
I guess.
That was choking her out. Because that was in the like previously on Barry was like a scene of that guy choking her out and her stabbing him. So she ends up telling him nothing. But I did want to highlight her delivery of her lines in that scene, because as she's walking towards the cop, she's like, it's almost like in a dream.
Exactly what I thought. It's like you're talking. Yeah. I literally had this morning when I like fell back asleep where I was like trying to yell and I like could not yell.
And it just comes out as like a whisper every single time. And so she's just like, hey, like trying to talk to the cop. And then when he turns around, it's like, she sees him start bleeding from the eye. And that's why I'm like, well, it has to be a vision. Also, she has to be either drunk or coming down hard from alcohol.
I don't know.
So I'm very curious. And he just basically is like, do you want to say something to me? And she says no. And then the cop gets in his car and drives away. And she looks back and Chechens are loading John into a SUV and they take her too. Meanwhile, Barry has woken up because Jim had an IV in him too. So he's taken the IV out and he's only strapped in with his hands.
Which, that feels lazy.
But I feel like that makes me feel it's on purpose.
Me too, but then I thought that Jim would be in the next room and be like, ha, stab or something.
Well, he was Mark Wahlberg down at the Four Seasons.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, if he was going to leave, why leave him so unprotected? Like, it feels lazy and messy.
I agree.
Not something I would expect from Jim Moss.
Yeah, because also, although I wonder if like based on like Jim's weird moral code, it's like not Barry's fault because Gene ordered the hit, so he's not mad at Barry anymore.
I don't know, but wouldn't you still be mad at the man who physically killed your daughter?
I mean, I like to think I would be.
I still feel like Jim would be. Like it just felt really.
The fact specifically because I think very specifically, if Barry had still managed to get himself over to that knife with his feet tied also, I could excuse it. But his feet were not tied to that chair.
Yeah, he literally just like stood up
and walked. It's just his arms, barely. And so it was weird to me, and I'm wondering why.
I don't know.
If it's just a plot contrivance so that he can get out and go fight Hank,
I guess.
Although now I sort of imagine I think the finale is going to be like a fight to the death with Barry and Fuchs.
Yeah. I would like that.
Because, and if I had to predict something, I think they're going to kill each other. I think they'll probably both die. But basically, the whole episode, Hank is trying to kill Fuchs to get him out of the house that he gave them. And he sends 4 guys. Fubox. In order to go and kill Fuchs and his whole team. And it does not work out.
No, and these dudes' resumes, a bunch of like dudes from prison, which I mean, like they're scrappy, but like.
But disorganized dudes from prison who can't even agree on what to do with the women the next time something goes down.
Right. I don't know.
It's dicey. So, but they kill all 4 of these guys who were meant to be like the foremost killers in the world. And then they send their heads back in boxes, which I love Hank's assistant, Val.
Mm-hmm.
He is super funny. And so, there's just these 4 boxes that are like seeping blood up the like bottom of them. And Hank is just like, they're the heads. And Val's like, well, we don't know that yet. And so he starts opening it's a head. And he keeps going, it's another head. Why am I still opening this? And then the one of them was comically attractive.
Yeah, he was.
It was an Isaiah.
I think so.
Let's see if we can find, let's shout out the, oh no, no one named Isaiah is like actually, credited. He was hot. He was super, super, super hot. And Hank was like into it too. It was very funny. So obviously, yes, it was their heads. And so they decide to like launch a rocket at the house.
And it hard cuts.
Hard swings.
I mean, there was like no accounting. It's like putting. You have to count for the curve
and the wind and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it goes way left, and obviously everyone in the house realizes what happened, and so as they're trying to get away, they can't, and the driver is killed, which wasn't Val, it was a different one. And then Hank like ends up having to run away like over the side of a cliff, essentially, and he makes it to a woman's house. I think her name was Phoebe, Miss Phoebe.
Him leaving was so, thank you, Miss Phoebe.
Yeah.
That was very cute. Made him take his shoes off outside.
Amazing. I mean, he was covered in dirt.
Yeah.
So Val picks him up and he's like, we need to figure this out or whatever. So obviously they get Sally and John. And when Hank realizes that they have Sally and John, he calls Barry and is like, hey, if you want to see your family again, you have to come here. So I do think that Hank is just going to like essentially give Barry to Fuchs unless Barry is able to like make his case, but it doesn't really seem like he's going to.
Yeah, I don't know, because I mean,
and I understand why they had a falling out, Hank and Barry, because Barry was like talking in prison or
he was
whatever.
gonna sell them out.
I know, but like I feel like Barry might have like given Hank a warning, like Hank specifically. If he could.
I don't know, because I think at that point he was just so focused on getting Sally. Yeah.
That's fair.
And because when Barry was like fucking losing it last season, because he kind of like lost it on Hank, and then Hank was like, I'm kind of done now. Yeah. And then was kind of like, whatever. But then when he found out that he was like fully selling them out, then it's just like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, I get it. I just like, I liked their friendship so much.
Me too. I mean, I don't like that they're at odds, but I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, I hope they at least get like another scene or two together.
Yeah, me too.
I do feel like we're gonna all converge. I think it's gonna be like all the main players like together. So I loved it.
Me too.
I think it's great. I'm having so much fun.
Me too.
And I'm so sad this is over next week, but we will be back then. And yeah, that's it. Do you have anything else?
No.
I think that was pretty much it.
No, I feel bad with like these recaps because I'm just like, I really liked it.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Well,
it's just so much.
Yeah.
Like, and this show is so layered, so I won't even think about a point or something will pop in my head like 3 days afterwards.
Same.
So I am just kind of like a monkey doing symbols, like in the meantime trying to process.
It's the same thing for me and Trevor when we get to like really good episodes of Buffy.
Yeah.
And it's just like those episodes are always like 30 minutes long because all we're doing is just being like, and then this part was really good. And then that part was really good.
Yeah. And like everything with this show is so nuanced and layered. Yeah. And it's hard because it does feel very presented like, here you go. Like it all feels very upfront, but then like once it starts to marinate. Yeah. So apologies if I'm not an effective commentator on this show. I just love it so much. It's great. It is
fantastic. Yeah. And also Hank was wearing another banger of a suit this
Anthony
week.
Kerrigan, I swear to God. I swear to God. I was like, the Isaiah guy, I was like, oh, so Hank has a type. I have very dark hair. If I need to go sit out in the Florida sun, I will do that.
I'll get a tan
I will
for
get
you.
a tan. I can tan. I just don't like to. But like you, Anthony Kerrigan.
He could get it.
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
could super duper get
in
it.
a 3-piece suit.
All
Okay.
right. Well, we'll be back next week.
Yep.
Like and subscribe. Let us know what you think. If you've got any theories about the finale. And we'll see you then.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm doing a lot of finger guns lately, and I don't know why.
And sometimes I love a good finger gun, especially in text when I'm like,
Finger guns.
yeah. Pew, 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 pew.